All right. Welcome to the Two Tired Parents Amazing Race podcast. I'm Jonathan. This is my lovely wife, Anna, and we are here to talk about season 37 of The Amazing Race, which we are currently on.
Yes, and this is our top 10 countdown for episode...
Do it again. Try it again.
And this is our top 10 countdown for episode 2. And please do stick around because I may be spilling a little bit of tea.
Ooh, what was that? What? Say that again? We're spilling tea today? Uh-oh.
We're spilling tea today.
Stay tuned. Make sure you watch the entire episode because at the end, you heard it here. She's spilling tea, guys. Tea will be spilled.
Yes. So let's start with number 10.
Let's get into it. Number 10, Hong Kong at night.
Okay, so we open up our clue. We had to head over to a travel agency to pick up our tickets.
Right.
This is where a little bit of that anxiety of being a new traveler sets in. I just didn't really know what to expect, what to do.
Because, this is our first flight that we're going to have to book on our own. The first flight we took out on the race, that was pre-booked by the show.
Right.
This is now on us to book our own flights. And as we find out when we get there are 3 options.
Right. And we see a few of the earlier teams, picking their flight to Osaka that has a layover in Taipei.
Right.
We learned that this flight leaves within 2 hours. And the Crocodile Center, which is where the travel agency was located, is about an hour away. And I recall the gal that was helping us, she was like, yeah, and there's also traffic to take into consideration. So let's be real. It was a high risk at the time.
And also, remember, there was only one employee at this travel agency.
Oh, my
and she was working on this old 90s laptop.
God bless her.
So basically the whole show was in the hands of this one employee with this old busted laptop. And so she was taking a long time processing the tickets.
I'm pretty sure I had to unjam the printer a couple of times
You
too.
did. Oh my God. We were like technical support for this travel agency on which this whole show depended. So, that was kind of scary. So we didn't want to take a risk and go for that first flight. We definitely felt more comfortable going for the second flight.
Right. I can see how the earlier teams, were able to feel more comfortable booking this flight, but I just didn't. And also remember, we have our crew to take into account. They have equipment that may need to get checked through security. I don't know.
And look, each team has their own different levels of risk tolerance when they go on the show. And some teams have more travel experience than others. We had none. So at this time, we weren't comfortable taking that risk. We opted for the second flight, which was a direct flight into what was it now? Osaka.
Yes.
Okay.
But also note to mention that layover was about 4 hours. So the layover had nothing to do with this decision making. It was strictly on, are we going to make it to the airport on time?
Yeah, we just wanted to get to
Is the airport going to be busy? Is security going to take forever?
Yeah.
So we get our tickets.
Got our tickets, hop into the cab. Or we did not hop into the cab. We were looking for a cab. And we looked for a cab for quite some time because that's what we're getting to here. Number 10 on our list, Hong Kong at night.
Yes. This was actually really fun because we couldn't find a cab right away. So we're just walking down this main street and we're just kind of strolling. We know we have about 7 hours to kill.
We're just walking around in the middle of Hong Kong at night. And let me tell you,
we weren't stressed.
Hong Kong was jumping off.
Oh my gosh, it was
on
popping.
a Monday night.
On a Monday night.
Yeah, I mean, wow. It was alive. This city was active.
It was fun because I finally felt like a tourist.
Felt like a tourist for sure.
That was really cool.
You got to hang out in Hong Kong for the first time without the pressures of the race. You're not stressing about my clue and getting from point A to B.
Exactly.
It was just a really nice time to sit there,
fun.
relax, and enjoy the city.
Yes.
And it was just a wonderful period for us where we were able to decompress and sort of put that past leg behind us.
So I want to say after 45 minutes, we were finally able to get into a cab.
Got into the cab.
And we got to the airport. We were able to find a quiet area where we'd be able to just hang out and do some research.
Which brings us actually to number 9 on our list.
Yeah, number 9.
Han Holden.
Yeah, so as we're just hanging out, Han and Holden show up. Of course, I think they have their McDonald's bags.
First of all, hello, Han and Holden, if you're watching.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
And
we're going to be talking about you for this next segment.
Yeah, so we're sitting down, just relaxing, doing some research, minding our business. And then, Han and Holden show up. And it was really cool because I think this was the first time that we really got to get to know another team in a quiet area without the pressures of the race.
Yeah, so they come up and they sit down at our table and we're just chatting. And it feels like, wow, I really like this team. They're cool. They're very open. They're fun. They remind me of the kids that I went to high school with, really. I I went to high school in Diamond Bar. I'm from Pomona, but I went to high school in Diamond Bar. Yeah. And this is a predominantly Asian area. Yeah. And so all my friends from high school are basically Asian. Like 90% of my friends are Asian. And so when I meet Han Holden, it feels very much like I'm meeting two old high school friends. And they're at that young age. It felt very comfortable. Talking with Han and Holden.
Also, you can tell right away is that what you see is what you get. Just very genuine people.
Yes,
and
100%.
That was really cool. Yeah.
They're very much like you said, what you see is what you get. Kind of like us, Yeah. And that's probably why we bonded with them almost instantly. And now, coming up at number 8 on our top 10 countdown for leg 2, mental reset. What does that mean?
Well, I feel like we had a lot of unresolved emotions from leg 1 still lingering.
Yeah.
And once we crossed that gate at the airport to get onto our next flight, I think is when we figuratively and literally left the emotions behind. We just left them in Hong Kong. We just moved on to the next flight.
Yeah, that's something I felt like you could actually see on camera when starting the leg, I was like here. But if you see when I get on the plane, my mood like does a 180. And that's because we were able to always, like she said, leave that baggage behind us once we cross that gate. And once we're on that plane, it's a new day. And we just kind of reset mentally. And I think that was something that really benefited us, certainly on this leg, but throughout the race.
Yeah, totally.
All right. That's what we mean by mental reset. So we did that mental reset and we're locked in for the next leg. And we're going to get to that next leg right now. All right. That brings us to number 7 on our top 10 countdown for leg 2. The intersection. Ooh. Okay. Y'all know it's season 37. So that means it's a season of twists. And every leg is going to have some crazy twist. And on this leg of the race, it was the intersection, making a comeback after a long absence.
Yeah, after a long time. So we make it first to Sutenkaku Tower.
Oh, nice. You said it right.
Yeah. I practiced. We realized that the intersection is coming up and we know there's an odd number of teams that were on that first flight. So we know there's going to be someone waiting. Right. Were you hoping for a specific team?
I was not hoping for any particular team because it's just leg 2 and you have to think, I don't really know anybody well enough to have a preference.
I mean, we barely knew people's names.
We haven't had time to really build up a relationship with anyone other than Han and Holden, which we mentioned. And so at this point, I had no preference. I know in my mind, I had thought that it was going to be Bridget and Ernest because, Carson and Jack and Mark and Brett are 2 very fast teams. So in my mind, I thought, if there's going to be a team there waiting for us, it's probably going to be Bridget and Ernest, but it wasn't.
No, to our surprise, it was Carson and Jack, and they seemed super excited to see us. I honestly, at that point, I think they were just excited to see any team.
Yeah, it kind of sucks for that odd man out when you're at an intersection because if you think about it, you kind of just have to wait for a team to show up in order to move on in your race. And it sort of sucks.
Yeah, because what if all the teams got lost or whatever?
So they were waiting for us, yeah.
Yeah, but luckily they had done some research and they heard the drums. So that helped us when it came time to opening up the clue.
Right. I rip it open and it's a roadblock and it says, who's ready to beat the competition? So I took that information and we paired it with the information that Carson gave us, and we realized, hey, this is probably a drumming challenge of some kind.
Right in your wheelhouse.
It's right up my alley. So I choose to do the roadblock. We go up the stairs. We go into this concert hall, and
oh my gosh! Wow. And this performance begins as we're walking in, and I got to tell you, it was the coolest thing I have probably ever seen.
Yeah, this whole team of taiko drummers come out, and there's all different sizes of taiko drums set up, and they just start going at it, and man, I got to tell you, what'd you say? You noticed when we watched it on TV, it was just like...
It didn't... No. It was not the same. You had to be there.
Yeah.
You really had to be there.
You can't help but notice the difference. When I was there and you're standing like, I don't say 20 feet away from these guys, you feel it in your bones. You feel the drum. You could feel it and just shaking your bones. And it is just so cool to be there in person.
Powerful.
Very powerful. Extremely powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. So then you guys go on and practice.
Jack and I, we go backstage, we get dressed, we get our sticks, and we start practicing. And the first thing I realized when I look up at the music that they had prepared for us, it was a long piece of music. It was not like a little 8-bar, 16-bar. This thing was maybe... Let me see. Hold on. 4 times 8. There are 8 lines, 4 bars each.
32.
What's 8 times 4? 32. Yep. Okay, so it was probably, I think, a 32 bar piece of music. And
I don't know what that means, but it sounds like a lot.
Which actually, that brings us up a good point. Yeah. If you didn't have musical experience going into this challenge, oh my God, I feel for you.
I would have been like Nick Cannon on drumline, just trying to memorize the beats because I have no idea what those notes mean.
Yeah, so I definitely don't take that for granted. The fact that I had musical experience going into this challenge was a huge advantage. lucky for us, Jack also had some musical experience. I believe he said he played clarinet in high school.
Oh, another band geek.
Nice. So there are a couple band geeks on this season, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, Jack and I get up there. We make our first attempt. We make a mistake, which is fine. We go backstage and practice it again.
Yeah.
And we come out and eventually we get it on our third attempt.
Yeah. So we get out. Oh my gosh. Something that happened when we left Nambahat after you got the clue. We tried to get directions to the Tonori Bridge along with Carson and Jack. And what happens? Carson asks a local these directions in full-on Japanese. And I was like, what is happening here?
Yeah, this guy just starts speaking
First of all, I was really
Japanese.
impressed.
Yeah, which
I was like, holy moly, he's speaking Japanese.
And not even broken or like, stammering Japanese. I mean, it
really
is coming out like it's his second language.
I
was like, oh, this is a problem. This guy is very well rounded.
Number 6.
Number 6, threat assessment. Just going back to that drumming challenge. So,
hold on real quick before you start. We had like a threat assessment on our little notebook of our notes. We had the teams' names, and based on how we thought we saw them as a threat, we would put an exclamation mark.
Yes. So a couple of teams had 3 exclamation marks, which meant, watch out for this team. They are a threat. And other teams had 2. And Carson Jack, at this point, I think I had a question mark on next to their name because we hadn't met them. We didn't know what their skills were.
Right.
And so we just didn't know what to make of them at this point.
Right.
I want to say while we were drumming, Jack and I were backstage practicing the intersection. I was also sort of sizing him up. I'm also watching him see, well, let me see how much talent this guy has. Let me see how good he is at working through problems. And I saw that he was very good at working through problems. And I immediately realized, you know what? These aren't your ordinary nerds. Okay? These aren't your run-of-the-mill
These are well-rounded
gamers.
Nerds.
These are well-rounded nerds.
And they're fast.
And they're fast on top of that. So now I'm thinking, hold on.
And they only have a bag.
They only have one bag. They've done their homework, that means. And so actually they go way up on our threat assessment scale at that point.
I'm pretty sure after this challenge, we gave them 4 exclamation marks.
Yeah, I think at this point in my mind, they were one of the teams to beat in this competition.
Okay, so this leads us to number 5.
Number 5.
We get to the clue box and we rip open our clue and it's detour time. Mochi or mawashi. So I've eaten mochi before, but I have no idea how it's made. And I had no idea what mawashi was. But you had an idea. Right?
I did have an idea. I've seen a video of how mochi is made. And I know that it involves a very large hammer and repetitive beating at this ball of rice until it takes on this sticky kind of consistency. And so I thought that might have been too labor intensive and too time consuming. So I think we decided to do mawashi based on that.
But little did we know, mawashi was going to be time consuming and also labor intensive.
That ended up taking more time, I feel like, than mochi. I feel like the shorter 100%. Detour ended up being mochi. So I was dead wrong on that.
Yeah, but I mean, And we get it on our third try.
First try, I don't remember if it was the third or the fourth, but it took us some time because, again, a lot of detail goes into this. You can't just go up there and haphazardly wrap yourself any kind of way you want.
No.
This is an ancient Japanese tradition, an ancient and sacred tradition. So it has to be very precise. So we finally get it, and what happens?
Well, here comes Hiroki, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, okay, let's get a clue.
And he's like, no.
So instead of giving me a clue, he's like, challenge.
Challenge? What do you mean by challenge? I said, what?
First of all, the additional info didn't talk about this.
No.
We had no idea.
We have to fight this 600-pound sumo wrestler. And wow, what a thrill that was.
I mean, you just have to kind of jump in and like, okay, let's do it. But in my head, I'm like, how in the world is this going to happen?
I know.
Oh my gosh, that was so crazy.
It was unreal. And
we were anxious, but we were not afraid. I mean, both of our faces were like on his chest, right?
Oh yeah, we dug in. We got right into it. We weren't afraid. We put our bodies right up against him and we pushed him out of the ring, man.
I think Naya saw it and she was like, Mom. And I'm like, Japanese people are very clean. It's fine.
I mean, being 100%. Able to say you actually did sumo wrestling in Japan, that's freaking crazy.
We've never even seen a sumo wrestler.
Just think about that for a second. Just to be able to say that is just really, really cool.
It's so funny because in retrospect, Mochi would have been the fastest detour. But I think if you would have heard that the other detour involved the sumo wrestler, you would have been devastated.
Yeah, and speaking of that, sometimes on this race, you'll get to a detour, right? And you're always thinking about, well, which one is shorter?
Right.
And so you'll have like option A, option B, and you'll say, you know what, this one looks like the shorter detour.
Right.
But this one looks really freaking cool. And I don't care how long it's going to take me. I have to do this. And that was definitely the case with Mochi versus Mawashi.
Totally.
This experience was definitely one of the highlights of the race for me.
Oh, 100%.
And I am so glad we chose Mawashi, even though it turned out to be the longer detour.
Yeah.
It was freaking awesome.
It was so worth it.
Yeah.
So worth it. Yeah, so we complete this challenge. Both challenges, actually, because I want to say Mawashi was one challenge. The second challenge was
there was a surprise second challenge, right? So we finished both challenges, right?
Yes, and it was exciting. You know, the teams were cheering for us. Well, at least most of the teams. And we finally get our clue. And we have to get dressed and head out.
Head out to Katsuo-ji Temple, which is number 4 on our list. So let's get right into it. You can introduce that again. You did a little bit towards you. Towards me? Okay. God. Ooh, okay. There's like a fat knot. Ooh.
Okay, so for number 4, we have Katsuo-ji
Temple,
which is the pit stop.
The pit stop. Race to the pit stop.
Yeah, so we're...
Do it again. What in the world? Okay, we're going to keep that in. So, your brain had a short circuit there. Let's do it again.
You not laugh at my brain?
Okay, I'm sorry.
We are headed there. It's about 40 to 45 minutes away
It's
from...
a long drive.
The detour.
And yeah, our cab driver actually didn't know how to get there, remember? There seemed to be some confusion.
He just seemed, he didn't seem sure. So we wanted to make sure.
He wasn't giving us confidence. And so whenever your cab driver isn't confident in where he's going, that's always a little nerve-wracking.
Especially when you're headed to the pit stop.
And you're trying to get that first place, right? So
yeah. I do remember you like grabbed all his devices. You were trying to, I don't know, just help him.
Yeah.
However,
eventually I grabbed the iPad. We confirm
that
he is going to the correct destination. Yeah. He gets on the phone, right? We have him call.
To
make sure he's going to the right place.
And he's asking, do you remember that conversation?
Yeah, we were here listening to them speaking Japanese. Hi.
Yes. Hi.
And then he's like, Katsuo-ji.
Oh, yeah. Katsuo-ji. Okay.
And so we knew at that point he was headed towards the right place.
And as because again, it was really far. It's about 40, 45 minutes. We're driving there and something happens to you that I actually began to get worried.
Yeah, I noticed my body starting to cramp up in like every place. So my calves are cramping, my thighs are cramping.
Your hands were doing something
weird. Even my hands and my fingers, that's never happened before. Never. I was so severely dehydrated at this point that I was just cramping up everywhere. And I could barely move any part of my body without feeling excruciating pain.
I saw this happen to a couple of the guys. And like one that were saying that their calves were, getting cramped up. You only see chunks of the race, but these races go for a long time and you forget to drink water.
Dehydration is no joke. That will kill you on the race. You sometimes forget that you have to stay hydrated during the race, not just before, but you have to consistently drink water during the race. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways. So we get to the temple and as you guys notice, I mean, you can't help but notice we were the only team that wasn't wearing shoes at the pit stop.
Yeah, I think we might have misread our additional info page.
Well, it said...
which told us to remove the shoes, right?
It said when you get to the temple, remove your shoes. And I wasn't sure, what the temple was going to look like. It just seemed like a place that we just kind of walk into. But no, that's only when you go inside the shrines.
Yeah, I see.
Right?
Okay, right.
But there was this steep walkway to get to Phil. And we didn't actually go inside a temple. We were just kind of prepared. We were
the only team that went to the pit stop barefoot. Okay.
Our thought process was different, obviously.
Also, an interesting little nugget that you may have noticed. They only showed it for a split second, but when I get out of the cab and we start towards the pagoda, that gorgeous pagoda that you saw, I actually had my underwear on the outside of my leotard, and I just thought we should talk about that for a minute because, look, after going on the show, I actually found out a lot about myself that we might talk about in the future, but... in that moment, my brain was telling me that these underwear are supposed to go on the outside of my leotard, and so that's where I put them.
These are the underwear and spandex that were provided for the detour.
Yeah.
So they give you underwear to just keep everything in place. Unlike the sumos, they didn't want anything out of place.
So looking back, this is really embarrassing.
I thought you thinking?
I don't know. Funny. That's just what my brain told me to do. I think you get there and you take off your clothes. And you have the leotards and you have these black, I guess they're underwear. I didn't think they were underwear. I just thought they were part of the decoration. I thought it was part of the costume.
In case you guys didn't catch it, I'll show you.
It was really embarrassing. Anyway, I get to the pit stop and Phil actually cracks a joke about it.
Noticed.
And me, being who I am, I don't even get the joke. I just like, wait, what? This isn't what I was supposed to do? And yeah, it turns out I wasn't supposed to put the underwear on the outside because they're underwear. It's right there in the word. They go under, right? Okay. But anyways, what else happened?
Okay. Oh my gosh. Well, hello. We get first place.
First place. Holla.
Yes. And so we are super excited, obviously. And Phil announces that
we are going to Africa.
We're going to Africa, baby.
Freaking awesome. I mean, Tanzania, Mount Kilimanjaro. We freak out on the mat, as you saw.
That was so amazing.
So freaking cool. Thank you to Expedia. Thank you to The Amazing Race. We cannot wait to go on this trip.
I mean, I've been dreaming about it.
So we're going to Africa, guys. We'll put it here on the channel when we go there, and we'll take you with us.
Fully documented. Yes.
Fully documenting our trip and our hike up Mount Kilimanjaro. Okay, so that's coming up.
Yes.
And before we move on, y'all, I want to tell y'all something. So when we got to the pit stop, Phil showed us, those cute little Daruma dolls, they're called, right? And there are thousands and thousands of these Daruma dolls spread all across this beautiful sort of temple, right? Katsuo-ji. And they're just dotted. They dot the whole landscape. It's hard to miss them.
I thought they were like decorations.
She thought they were just decorations which were available to take. She tried to take one, guys. She tried to lift one of these dolls.
I actually thought, I'm like, maybe I'll take one for Naya and one for Jada.
No, you can't do that. People buy these little dolls and they like put their little wishes into these dolls and they set them there. I said,
I didn't know that.
You're going to get some sort of curse if you take one of these dolls. Don't curse our race. So I tell her, no, put it back. She thought she could just take one. I said, no, you can't take one.
I wish we would have had the chance to go get one, though.
I 100% regret not buying one.
Yeah.
Why did we not just buy one when we were there?
Well, you're just kind of with you're with your teams, you're with production. You don't really wander off when
I
you're
really
recording
regret
the show.
not buying a Daruma doll.
I know.
If we go back, and I have a feeling we will go back because it was such a magical looking place. You guys saw it on TV.
Oh,
this place, I can't put it into words.
No.
I swear, I cannot put this in the words. The television does not do it justice. This place was like a fantasy realm that you were dropped into.
I remember like sitting down and just staring up at all the different shades of green. Every single shade of green you could ever imagine. You're going to see. It was so amazing. It felt like you were dreaming.
It didn't feel like you were on planet Earth anymore.
No.
It really didn't.
No, it was truly magical.
So the television just won't do it justice.
No.
If there's one place you can go to Katsuo-ji Temple in Osaka. Yep. Absolutely gorgeous.
Miss it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I really want to talk about this. I want to chat about our hotel experience because it was truly memorable. We get to the hotel and they have these Japanese robes for you to put on.
Yes.
Which is so cool because again, you get into
really
the hotel.
Cool. Yeah.
You shower and you wash your clothes. So this was like a great alternative to just, walk around in your Japanese robe. That was really cool.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you recall, but we were really sleep deprived from going to Hong Kong. I think we only slept like a couple of hours.
Yeah, remember now. So that flight to Osaka that took off at 1 a.m.
Right. 1-ish a.m.
And it's a 3.5 hour flight. So we're not getting much sleep on that flight if you were lucky enough to fall asleep.
Yeah.
So
I don't think I slept at all. So I was exhausted.
We go straight from that to running this second leg. You're running on fumes. Okay. So we get to the hotel and we crash out. We ordered our food, and then immediately after that, we crashed.
I mean, I think they were knocking on our door for a very long time, and we were out cold. So we didn't even eat our dinner.
No, we missed dinner. And listen to this. Are you ready? This isn't tea time yet, but this is a little preview because tea time's coming up. It's coming up next. Stay tuned. But this is just baby tea. Okay. We wake up. It's like, what time did we wake up?
Like at 5 a.m. Oh my gosh.
So we ordered our food. We woke up. It was like
we slept like 10, 12 hours.
Yeah, it was still dark outside. We're hungry because we missed dinner. We slept through dinner. We go outside hoping to find our dinner outside of our doors.
On the floor. Yeah. It was gone.
It was gone. And we found out later someone ate our dinner. Someone ate it.
Who ate my salmon?
Who did it? I want you, if you're watching this, you were on the race with us.
Reveal
Which
yourself.
one of y'all ate our dinner? We had 2 dinners there. Someone ate them both. Who did it? Speak up right now. Reveal yourself.
Anyway, so
I want to see you in the comments.
Not only were we exhausted, we woke up exhausted. We woke up
hungry as hell.
But again, it was just it was just so cool waking up in Japan.
We also got a chance to watch some sumo wrestling on TV, which was cool.
Because now we knew a little bit about it.
And I feel like I watched that for hours. I really enjoyed watching sumo wrestling. It's addictive.
It is.
And
it is.
Also, we got a chance to see what kind of cartoons come on in the afternoon for Japanese kids. And wow, we saw one that was really wild. I mean, everyone kind of knows that Japanese animation can get pretty weird. This one was really weird. Okay, there was a cartoon with a detective, a hero of sorts, that has a butt for a face. Butt face. Detective. And it was just the craziest cartoon I've ever seen, I think. Butt face. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we told you it was coming. We promised it to you at the start. We're finally there. Number 1 on our top 10 countdown. It's tea time. That's right. We're going to be spilling tea right here, right now. Grab your friends, grab your popcorn. We're going to spill it right now. It's the only podcast you're going to find this information at. Let's get into it.
Listen, I had almost forgotten about this. I was going over my notes from leg 2, and I made a note to myself that refreshed my memory. It said, spy on the plane.
Oh, hold up. What? What did it say?
Well, listen.
You said spy on the plane?
Spy on the plane.
Oh, you have to tell this story. Let me listen.
So, we're on the airplane ride to Osaka. And almost everybody's sleeping, or at least I'm looking around and everybody's asleep. There is something that comes to mind, and I write it down on a piece of paper, and I want to get it translated to Japanese.
Right, okay.
So I get out of my seat, and I walk over to the back, and then I come to where the flight attendants are hanging out. And, I'm chatting with them, and I'm like, hey, can you get this translated for me? And they're like, yeah, we'll bring it back to your seat. I'm like, oh, great. These girls are awesome. And as I'm walking back to my seat, I go back, I turn the corner, and there's an individual from a team just kind of waiting there in the corner. And I'm thinking, oh, they're probably waiting for the bathroom. I don't know if it's available or not.
Sure.
But something about the body language was weird.
Ooh.
And obviously it set off my spidey senses enough for me to write this note. Because they weren't just like waiting. It was like waiting.
What is that?
It gave eavesdropping vibes. Like the leaning of the body, the covering of the face, that I'm really listening to what's happening.
So you think someone was listening into your conversation?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So
major allegation
there was no conversational exchange. There was no acknowledgement. I just kind of like, whoa, right.
Did you make eye contact with this, with the
no, because remember, they were like this. They were like this in the corner. So,
interesting.
So I walked my little booty back to my seat, and I wrote this note.
Spy on the plane. This is very intriguing. Spycraft on the race. Yeah. Okay.
Now, I'm not name dropping, but if you guys have any guesses, drop them in the comments. That's it, folks.
That's tea time for today.
Yes.
And that brings us to the end of this episode. So,
yes, stick around for our top 10 countdown for like 3 that is airing tonight.
9:30 p.m.
So exciting.
Eastern, CBS, and Paramount Plus. Tune in. We're going to Kyoto, so that should be very exciting. And there's an express pass. Yes, right. Express pass up for grabs. Who's going to get it? Tune in tonight to find out.
Bye.
See ya.